and as I have done so in the past 7 years. I would like to pass on some of my philosophies on life, but first I would like to tell you what happened last year to me, or the year before, pardon me, when I spoke to the graduating class at Eagle River. A person who attends all the graduation ceremonies said to me after the ceremony, "You must give a good speech. You always get a big hand." And I said, "What do you mean I must give good speeches?" He said, "I always sit in the bleachers and I have trouble hearing what is said. So this year, for all the people in the bleachers, I'm going to repeat my speeches from the past 6 years." No, just kidding. But I did learn something. If people can't hear me, what I'm saying anyhow, and I still get a big hand, it must be because I keep it short. So I just want to say good luck, grads. Always strive for the best. You can, and you can do. And I expect to see each and every one of your pictures in the Eagle River Hall of Fame in the future. Best of luck to all of you.
He then plans to go to the University of British Columbia to achieve a degree in prosthetics. Brent Jensen. Brent's future plans include cooking school at Okanagan College in Kelowna next fall, and someday he hopes to own his own restaurant. Then she plans on moving to Kelowna to further her studies in the tourism industry. She also plans on meeting someone with lots of money so that he can support her so that she won't have to work. To obtain her degree in business administration and to get a Volkswagen Cabriolet. To become a technician. Clint would like to join the track team at Simon Fraser University and to make major money on endorsements. Okanagan College to take a university transfer course and eventually to enter into the medical faculty at the University of British Columbia to become a doctor or anesthesiologist. Jamie Wooster.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and kids. I think that sort of tells you, even after your speaker this afternoon's remarks, we really do think a lot of you. Now, about 20 years ago, a young man from Eagle River Secondary School graduated, went off to the big city, went to university, eventually became an architect, and in fact was a major force in the designing of Canada Place. Many of you visited that during Expo. After Expo ended, he became the project manager for Simon Fraser University. And I think that's pretty darn good for a kid from Eagle River. He was nominated to our Hall of Fame, and his picture hangs in our hallway in the Hall of Fame area. And it's our privilege to have this young man here tonight as the guest speaker to the grads. And ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you, if you don't already know him, Mr. Lee Gabel.
After words like that, I'm not sure what I can say here. It's rather overwhelming. Somehow I always remembered high school principals being very much taller too. When I first saw him with the mic down here, I was a little bit nervous. And you're always supposed to start your remarks to an occasion like this with a bit of humor to relax yourself as well as everybody else. And I was frantically trying to think of jokes relevant to Sicamous in the grad year 1988, and I was thinking of Oldsmobile 88s. I might do a new used car number here or something. I was thinking of mosquitoes, because you could always get a good laugh about Sicamous and mosquitoes, but that's not real anymore. Things have changed. And so what I really would like to do is address some remarks to the grads and their parents, because that was another question that faced me when it was originally presented to me that, would you like to come back and say something to a graduating class? Particularly so since it was 21 years ago today, virtually, that I stood on this platform with the same group of parents virtually in the front, and the same sort of remarks about aspirations and goals were stated. And it seems like yesterday, and I say this particularly to the graduates. 21 years may seem it's longer than you've lived. But to me, I remember vividly every detail, every incident, every other person who sat on this platform with me. And they have a very major influence in what the rest of your life directions will take. The thing that I really faced is, what do I talk about? And a bit of a confession there was, I sat on this platform and I can't for the life of me remember who addressed my convocation, as I am doing now. There is simply no visual image because I was so excited. It was my stage to venture forth to the world. I wasn't really listening on a conscious level to what a person of my equivalent was saying. I asked myself, if that's the case, and that's going to be the same for you, do I really talk to them, or maybe I should talk to the parents and the people who are concerned with them, and maybe tell them a bit about what's going to happen next? And I said, well, this is the other question. What can I tell them that I would like to have known then? Maybe there's some things that I do know that I've learned in 20 years that would have helped in whatever decisions future that you're going to take. And I tried to sort of set that out. What you're really doing is leaving one frame of reference or a community that has taught you values, taught you ways of doing things, taught you what to expect in certain circumstances, morality. You're leaving that and you're entering a new frame of reference, and it is a very much different frame of reference. The world that others have created for you in Sicamous is one that becomes a much, much larger one. In one sense, it is one that is ruled by the laws of our country, and another, it is a much looser one in that you become anonymous when you leave. You're a new space in a new place. You can do things that in Sicamous everybody's going to know it, and you're going to pay for it. You won't pay that same price when you go other places necessarily, and that's a decision you're going to have to make. You're going to go out into that world and you're going to test. You already do that in a minor way with the Friday night parties at Old Town, the camping trips when the parents and the brothers and the sisters and the other people that know you, even your friends, aren't necessarily around, and you start to become a slightly different, an adult person. The aspirations that I've heard tonight encourage me in one way and concern me in another. A very common comment that I hear continually from the professors at Simon Fraser University is that today's generation, as opposed to those of some earlier decades, is one that is very concerned with goals I will be an engineer, I will be a teacher, I will be a businessman, and you track in a very direct way to that. In some senses, that's good. You need to have an idea of where you're going. But by the same token, this is the time in your life to do a bit of exploration. The encouraging comments that I felt good about tonight were, I'm going to Europe, I'm going to get some money and travel around, I'm going to try this job or that job, because your experience to date has been very limited. It has been circumscribed by what is available in Sicamous, in the surroundings, and what you have known until now. I speak from my own experience in going off to that larger world, that it took approximately 4 years before I once again focused and said, this is what I think I would like to do with my life. But I went off to be an engineer. My parents were good. They were, excellent in the sense, be a garbage man, be a carpenter, be a whatever you like, enjoy it. But there was always that kind of subtle shaping. Well, if you were an engineer, it would be really nice, but it was never explicitly said, but it was there. You have undoubtedly experienced that same sort of pressure, whether you're conscious of it or not. Accept that. Don't necessarily fight it, because it might be perfectly valid. But test it. Explore it. Go on from there and find out jobs. I was encouraged to hear anesthesiologist, criminology. Those things didn't exist in my days. There are untold opportunities out there that it's really good to go after and find out about before you focus on something. The choices that you're going to face, and there will be many of them that now start to become very pertinent. The obvious one is career, and that's largely what we heard tonight from the students. I've talked a bit about that. The choices are many and varied, really affect what your life will be and can be. But largely, the kind of person you are ends up helping shape that career. There's certain careers have demands that the kind of person you are today allow you to achieve, or maybe not quite get there, and then you're going to have to look for something else. And once again, the key word there is flexibility. Go out there, find it, and chase it, but be prepared to have it not quite go the way you think it might now. And that's actually healthy. That's a good thing. Some of these kind of choices are personal relationships. The circle of friends that you've had today, your choice in friendships and the kinds of things you can do with people have been, again, limited to, quotes, a small number of people. You're going out into a world where now you can decide, I don't have to sit in class with that guy for 8 hours a day for the next few years. I just don't want to see them again, and that will happen to you. Okay? By the same token, there are people that you do want to continue to know, but you'll probably have to find you work at it. Friendships now become something that aren't thrust upon you necessarily, unless it's a work environment, but are something that you choose. Again, the word there is choice, and it's something that as an adult you're continually faced with. A major one, and I bring this up specifically because this is one thing that those 20 years have taught me, and it's something that my generation in particular faced, is when to have children. It was much more common in my generation for the time of bearing children to be between 20 to 25 years old. In fact, what happened as we went out there and discovered is that the majority of my generation shifted that about 5 years. 25 to 30 became the norm, and there's a number of us, including me, that switched that to 30 to 35. I say this in the sense that that has a major impact in my life. I was able, having those 10 years of, quotes, freedom that my forebears' generations did not have, to travel South Seas, Europe, all around North America, to put quite an amount of effort into my education, achieving several university degrees. Those kinds of things, if you choose to pursue a family at a younger age, become very difficult to achieve. I feel a little uneasy focusing that on as a single issue, but I'm trying to stop and think here, what are certain things I can hit you with that make a difference in your life? And that is one. Stop and think about having a family. The converse to delay, because that's what I said to me, is that I have friends now whose children are graduating. I was very curious to find out whether some of those students would be amongst your group tonight. Unfortunately, they're not, but they very could easily be. Those people are not faced like me, having a 1 and a 2-year-old child and being in a station wagon house in suburbia kind of mode in their life at the age of 40. They're now faced with their life opening up to do that, traveling to Europe, maybe a career change. You know, that flexibility shifted from the first part of their life to the second part of their life. And that's where I say I would like you to really stop and think about that one. It can go either way. There's advantages and cons both ways, but that's a big one for you, and it's a serious one. The other very profound change that's going to happen to you, and this won't hit you for a few years yet, but once again it's one that looking back I'd like to hit you with, is the choice between the small town, big town, going to the city. I very much encourage you all to go to that city, and not only Vancouver, because it's all relative. I was in Vancouver and it was the big city and I was scared and nervous and feeling that if I did well in Vancouver, I'd made it. And then I did some traveling and discovered London and Paris, even Toronto. And it puts Vancouver like a small town all over again. Okay? That choice will hit you at about the time you decide to have those children. When it really comes home to roost is when you say, what kind of world would I like to bring my children up in? The backyard, the dog, being able to run to the beach, or living within paved streets, sidewalks, preschool, the local park with a built big toy, no trees to climb, etc. A city. There's a lot of things there, and I don't think I need to dwell on that, but once again, it's a choice that's going to hit you, and it's going to be a big one. Chip, I'm sure he's in.
I should mention that we are extremely fortunate in scholarships. We have 26 scholarships vested to the school. 2 of those were not awarded this year because there were not suitable candidates, but we still have 24 scholarships to present to 16 different recipients. And I think that speaks really, really highly for the community. I'd like to call upon Mr. Monk to present the Doug Finlayson Memorial Scholarship.
Douglas Finlayson was a pioneer businessman of Sicamous and a promoter of growth in a very small community at that time, but he promoted very successfully. I saw the president of the Chamber of Commerce come up here tonight. I believe Doug Finlayson was the first president of the Chamber of Commerce in Sicamous. He also provided the land that this school sits upon, so he was pioneer who believed in the community. Call on Brent Jensen.
Thank you very much, Mr. Monk. The next scholarship to be presented is the Eagle Valley Arts Council Bursary, and that will be presented by Mrs. Lorraine March.
The Eagle Valley Arts Council is very, very pleased to present this bursary to Fiona Hannington.
next scholarship, and we're following the list that's on your program, is the bursary presented by the Eagle Valley Brush and Palette Club. I'd like to call on Mrs. Joyce Balestra to come up and present that one.
It gives the members of the Eagle Valley Brush and Palette Club great pleasure to contribute in a small way to the continuing efforts of budding artists. Fiona Haddington, will you come and...
The next scholarship is the Eagle Valley Pharmacy Scholarship, and I'd like to call on Mrs. Woodland to present this scholarship.
In the absence of Rod and Colleen Bailey, I'd like to represent the Eagle Valley Pharmacy to present this to a young person who is pursuing a career in the health sciences, Mike Varga.
The next scholarship on our list is the Grad's Parents Bursary. This is put together by the parents of the Grads on stage, and I'd like to call Mrs. Wendy Hennington to make this presentation.
I would like to call Jason Girine.
This is the first, and I've been working with high school students for 20 years now, and this is the first time I've dealt with a graduating class that actually worked hard enough to earn enough money to present their own bursaries, 2 of them. So I would like to call on Mrs. Brenda Girine, the chairman of the Grad Parents, to act as the presenter of these awards, and she will present the Grads of '88 bursary number 1.
It gives me great pleasure to award the Grads of '88 bursaries, which are new this year. The bursaries are possible because of the tremendous success of the raffle sponsored by Twin Anchors Marina. 2 bursaries will be awarded, each in the amount of $300. The selection criteria has been that a recipient must have taken an active role in graduation preparation. Recipient must have proof of registration to a post-secondary institution in a technical, vocational, or academic diploma or degree program. The recipient must have demonstrated positive leadership. Recipient must have participated in an extracurricular sports, drama, music, or art-related activity. Recipient must have an average scholarship standing or better. Recipients of other awards are not excluded from receiving this bursary. It is a limited bursary in that a recipient must prove attendance at a post-secondary institution by April 1st, 1989, or this bursary will be reissued to another deserving member of the 1988 graduating class who meets the criteria for this bursary. I would like to call on the bursary number 1 recipient, Vicki Moringer. The recipient of bursary number 2 is Jason Girine.
next bursary to be presented is the Lily C. Hoas Memorial Scholarship. And Mrs. Monk, would you come and make that presentation?
It gives me great pleasure to present this scholarship to Miss Michelle Egan.
The next award to be presented is a new one that was pledged this year. It's the Michael Rabbit Memorial Scholarship, and I'd like to call on Mrs. Cynthia Rabbit to make the presentation.
Good evening. This scholarship goes to a worthy student going into the forestry or logging sector. It is in memory of my late husband, Mike Rabbit, who himself was a logger. The student to whom this scholarship is being awarded to is going to be involved in the business side of logging rather than the actual logging itself. I'm very happy to present this scholarship to Danielle Dubois.
The next scholarship is the scholarship presented by the Regional District of Columbia Shuswap, and I'd like to call on Mr. George Abbott to make this presentation.
It's a pleasure on behalf of the Regional District to present this scholarship to Clinton Russell.
The local branch of the Canadian Legion has been tremendous and absolutely exceptional in their support of scholarships. There are actually 4 of them to be presented. 2 of them are known as the Doug Alk Memorial Bursaries, number 1 and 2, and then Branch 99 Scholarship, number 1 and 2. And I'd like to call on Mr. Gordon Roach to make those 4 presentations.
You get up there, you get stage struck. I don't know whether I'm stage struck, I don't want to be sick. But anyway, it gives me great pleasure to award this bursary to Craig Provis. The second bursary to Danielle Dubois. The next bursary is awarded to Tracy Choppy. The next award is to Brad Wakeman.
think we should give the Legion a hand, $2,000 in awards. And as if these weren't enough, the Ladies Auxiliary of the Legion also present one. Would Mrs. Wood please come up and make the presentation?
On behalf of the general membership of the Eagle River Credit Union, it gives me great pleasure to present this to Clint Russell.
The next scholarship is the Shuswap Lake Ferry Service Bursary. And Mr. Gordon Mackey, would you please make the presentation?
Well, it certainly is a great pleasure for me to give this next bursary, and Dwayne, you really deserve it.
The next award is the Shuswap Teachers Association Scholarship, and Mrs. Dorothy Drew will make that presentation.
Good evening, grads. On behalf of the teachers in the School District 89, I bring you greetings for the evening and best wishes for the future. We have a scholarship for a student who will be continuing a career in education, and that recipient is Tracy Chopik.
The next scholarship is the Sycamoose Lions Club Scholarship, and would Mr. Tom Kubos please come up and make that presentation? Tom's changed his appearance, so we're going to call on Mr. Reg Jansen instead.
On behalf of the Sycamoose Lions Club, I'd like to present Brad Wakeman.
The Sycamoose New Democratic Fund sponsors the Laura Ouellette Award. Mrs. Ouellette cannot be here this evening, so she deputized Mr. Tony Beeftink to make the presentation.
On behalf of the Sycamoose New Democratic Club, I would like to present this Laura Ouellette Award to Michelle Egan.
The next award is the Sycamoose Towing and Storage Award, and would Mr. Cumming please come up and make that presentation?
Thank you. On behalf of my company and employees, I'd like to present this award to Mr. Rodney Erickson, please.
The next award, again, is a new one, the Super Value Bursary, and I'd like to call Mr. Bill Paulus to make that presentation.
I'd like to say congratulations to all the grads, and it gives me great pleasure to present this to Michelle Egan.
The next scholarship is the Val Hill Memorial Scholarship, and Mrs. Jim Hill will make that presentation.
Thank you. On behalf of my husband, Jim, and myself, I'd like to present this to Clinton Russell.
Again, we have a new scholarship presented by the employees and the management of West Star Timber. I'd like to call on Mr. Gordon Eric to make that presentation.
Well, congratulations, grad. I'm sort of nervous I got stuck with this job, but I'm glad I'm here. West Star, we didn't know exactly what we were going to do this year, and the committee got together and sort of decided that between the employees and the management of the company, there would be equal donation made to the grads for this particular grad for the year. The amount is a $1,500 award, and the winner is Mr. Sean Rokosh.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you've been trying to keep a tally of the amounts that have been awarded to our grads, I took the time to work this out earlier, and this community shows tremendous support and pride in its grads, and in fact what we have awarded this evening adds up to $10,570. Your kids haven't stopped there. This crew is a vintage crew. They don't let grass grow under their feet. They've looked for scholarships elsewhere outside the community, and the next presentation, you probably noticed there's one young fellow up here who all of you know is an extremely good student, and we haven't even mentioned his name yet. There's a real good reason for that, and I'd like to call on Captain Buffon of Canadian Forces to make the presentation.
I was a little surprised. Thought I was going to be last on the program, so I'm not very well prepared. That's not really true, because on the way down here, I was held up in some construction for about 20 minutes. So I did have 20 minutes to mull over in my mind things that I might want to say. I think it would be probably better if I just made it a little quicker, though, because it would probably make me more popular. I would, however, like to meet the girl later on who mentioned that she wanted to find someone who was very rich and marry and look after her. Not for myself, but I have a young single person who just came to work in my office, and he has the very same ideas. So it's a great honor to be here tonight. It's even especially an honor to be here in the capacity to present an award to one of your graduating students. The award that I'm about to present has a very great amount of prestige with it. We do not give these out lightly. In fact, of probably in the neighborhood of 15,000 applicants that we have for this award, we will probably give out in the neighborhood of 600 to 650 of them. The competition is extremely fierce, and the selection process is as fierce. The people who we select for this award have shown us academic excellence, they have shown us leadership potential, they have shown us management skills, they have shown us time management skills, all of the things that we look for when we sponsor someone to become what we hope will be one of our future generals in the Canadian Forces. And just a quick background on the Canadian Forces, on what we're doing. We have evolved from maybe one of the smallest forces to one of the more highly respected forces in all of the world. The award is, as I said, very prestigious and not given out lightly. The people who apply for the reward have to be willing to sacrifice a lot of their time. We sponsor the students in a degree of their choice, in a vocation of their choice, but they have to, in return, show us a lot of dedication and a lot of work. When we send a student to a military college, not only do they have to keep up honor academic standings, but they also have to function in the military environment as well. Tonight, it gives me great pleasure to present an award that will sponsor a student through 4 years of university in an engineering degree and continue on in a classification as air navigator in the Canadian Forces. Just as a sideline, the monetary value of this award is in the neighborhood of $80,000. I'd like to present this to Mr. Tobias Rowley.
Perhaps now you can see why we kept him on hold for a little while. There are other students, however, who have been out seeking resources outside the immediate area. There will be a $1,000 scholarship announced to one of these grads, but I can't tell you who until August. We have to wait until exam results are in. I'd like to call upon Miss Michelle Egan again. She has received a special federal government French scholarship that has a $300 value. Sean indicated, he's going to Okanagan College for a year before he goes on to his engineering pursuits. Okanagan College has a bursary program where he had to have 9 A's on 13 qualifying courses, but they will pay for tuition for 1 semester for him, which has a value of a little over $600. That's what's in this envelope. As you probably each year, the Governor General of Canada makes available a medal called the Governor General's Bronze Medal, and it's awarded to the top student in each high school across the country at the end of their year. Toby is the recipient of the Governor General's Medal for this year. This is not a monetary award, but it's like winning the gold when you go to the Olympics. It does have a great deal of prestige. And now, ladies and gentlemen, as promised, it is now time for the kids to do some talking. I'd like to call upon Fiona Hannington and Jason Gerine to deliver the valedictory address.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, parents and teachers, relatives and friends, and fellow graduates.
My name is Fiona Henderson.
And my name is Jason Duran. And we are both very honored to be our grad class valedictorians for 1988. Grad 88, we waited so long for this moment, and now that it's here, it's hard to believe. In the past years, we've been through so much together, and it's sad to think that in just a few hours, we'll all bid farewell to our high school days. One by one, we will see our friends moving on to something new. Nothing will ever be the same after this weekend.
I can't believe it's over. It seems like just yesterday that I was screaming my head off on the first day of kindergarten. I saw quite a few of you guys then. You looked really mean and ugly. But that was when I was 4 years old, and I'm 17 now. And I've been at school with you for a lot of years. And guess what? You don't look mean anymore. And you don't look ugly either. You just look plain great. We're a group right now, and we belong together. But after tonight, each one of us will leave this group forever. We'll always have friends from the group, but we'll never be the group again. That's the bad news.
The good news is it's June 24th, 1988, and this is the day we've been working towards ever since that first day, screaming in kindergarten.
You know, 13 long years later, I feel like screaming again. I'm scared. I don't know what's out there.
You may have heard a beautiful song called Those Were the Days, my friend. I shall save you all the embarrassment of listening to me sing it. But there are some ideas that speak very clearly to us now. Those were the days, my friend. We thought we'd never end. We'd sing and dance forever and a day. We'd live the lives we chose. We'd fight and never lose, for we were young and sure to have our way.
These have been the days, my friend. They went on forever, didn't they? And we always knew that when we came to the end, everything would be wonderful for us. Wherever they were, we'd find the jobs that were perfect for us. Wherever they were, we'd get into the colleges, the technical school, the training programs that were perfect for us. Whoever they were, Mr. Right or Miss Right would find us and be perfect for us. It would be so perfect we look like a bunch of beer advertisements. Well, here we are, just ready to step before the cameras and start our lives, free from teachers and parents, free from anybody and anything we want to be free from. Now it's up to us, and we get the credit and we get the blame from here on in. Maybe that's what's making me want to scream.
But you know what? We are all important. We all have value. We all are valuable. We all have something significant. We have energy, enthusiasm, and education. We can do it, and we can do it well. We've been equipped for it. We just have to do it. School is formally over, and for the time being, there aren't any formal lessons to attend to. But I'd like to give you just a few more quick lessons before we finally escape these hollow halls.
These are some little rules of life we've found to be helpful and sometimes even vital in our lives so far. I pass them on to you and hope that you will also find them helpful. First, it is easier to beg forgiveness than to ask permission. That one takes a little moment to understand, but it can make a major difference to you in the way you approach your life. By it, I mean that life, if you live properly, is a life that is full of doing things. It is not a period of asking for and waiting for permission to do things. Take that attitude with you into your studies and into your work. Don't wait around for somebody to tell you to do something. If you see something to do, do it. If it turns out later that you did the wrong thing, then you can apologize. Have you noticed that people love to accept apologies and grant a sort of tolerant forgiveness, but they rarely give permission without qualifying an almost utter existence? So take charge of your own life and live it.
From a distantly related field comes the next lesson. Today you're a fuzzy little yellow chicken, peopling and tweedling for its mother. Tomorrow you're a greasy bucket of fried chicken.
Remember
ahead, Jeff.
Run down on the floor.